What's going on, guys? So this is a spoiler, an open spoiler review of Deadpool 3. Now, Deadpool 3 is a great continuation off of Deadpool, and as well as a great close to the X-Men movies. Now, with that saying, it was an end to the X-Men movies, and it had this great mid-credit scene where it played all of these like bloopers as well as like just rolls and credits of these movies made by Fox, like the three Fantastic Four movies, all of the X Men movies, the Blade, um, as well as like Daredevil and Elektra. And we got some of those really cool ones, and it was kind of emotional because it was saying goodbye. Um, but I didn't really feel that during the movie. I felt like this was like a new beginning, like everyone's coming back, and it was like this big great thing, and it was like welcome to Disney. I didn't really feel too much of a goodbye to Fox. Like I didn't feel like any stories were ended. I mean, obviously, for the characters who died, their stories ended, um, and I think that's very cool. But I feel like there's so many stories that were left open that we could have got an ending to their character, and we didn't get that ending. As well as people who have had somewhat of an ending, say like Blade with when he got his Blade Trinity. He got a trilogy. After three, you kind of have been successful and move on. Where they brought him back, and it feels like now what do you do with this character? Like you kind of, I feel like Blade was like the one that was kind of like the cheapest. They brought him back. No, it was great because they brought him back. Um, he made this thing about how he's the only Blade, and it was really great and it's cool and to see that him and Ryan Reynolds like fix stuff up or at least like put things aside to make a great cameo. Um, and it is interesting the fact that Blade is now the longest, I think, concurrently played by one actor as a superhero. I mean, for a long time it was Hugh Jackman. He retired. It went to Chris Evans, and then Tobey Maguire came back and took it, and that was shared between Tobey Maguire and um, William Dafoe. And then when they announced this movie, everyone was like, "Hey, Hugh Jackman's taking over the role," and it kind of felt well deserved. I mean, he has played this for like 24 years. He has made 10 movies. Um, I'm gonna say out of the seven, he's been the main lead. Only making cameos in three of these movies. Um, it felt like well deserved. But for Wesley Snipes' Blade, he made three movies. Two of them were received great. The third one not so well. And then he had like a 17-year age gap. Now he's the one that is crowned the most concurrently run through superhero played by one actor. I think that is very cool, but I feel like Hugh Jackman really earned it, and he really should have got that title. And it kind of sucks that he doesn't, but I'm expecting him to come back um, in Secret Wars. But they already brought Blade back, so it kind of seems like they would bring him back in Secret Wars as well. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, they can't get the Marvel's Blade off the ground. Why wouldn't you keep someone like legendary status like Wesley Snipes' Blade? Plus, he looked badass. He looked, it was just amazing. Like his costume design was great. It really fit that character, and it was just something about seeing him return after all these years. It was also quite wonderful. So I'm definitely not hating on that aspect. I just feel like Hugh Jackman deserves it. Um, but it was absolutely wonderful coming in. Same thing with Elektra. Like she was in like the Daredevil movie, and then her movie that even performed even worse than the Daredevil movie, and I feel like she never got love. So it is really nice and interesting that she gets a little bit love in this movie as well because she was performed very well. Costume was very good. Also, one that we knew what was going to happen. Um, was Channing Tatum's Gambit. We pretty considered if it was going to be a whole thing going around, we had to see him, and we did see him. I wasn't a huge fan of the accent. Also, not a huge fan of his costume. It was very bulky, and it felt like he didn't get to like move or react. But seeing Gambit, that was pretty cool. That's been on the bucket list for a long time, and it was really cool. And I was a big fan of the original Gambit in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Me and my dad have just been just waiting for a Gambit movie, and we never got it. So it is very cool after all this time to actually see um, Gambit on live action after all those years, and played by Channing Tatum, of all people, who was so excited to get his own movie to bring Gambit to the live screen, the live action, and he never got to do it. It's quite sad, but it finally came to fruition, and I think it was well deserved. I feel like after seeing him, I don't see him like locking down a solo movie, but a cameo in Secret Wars, it's a possibility. I can't. I mean, he's someone that is very well. Loves his character, would bring him back into anything, as well as someone who's very comfortable doing cameo roles. I don't see why you wouldn't put him, especially if Marvel's trying to build up the X-Men. I don't see why you don't throw him in something like Secret Wars, or maybe a solo X-Men movie. Where so it's very interesting. Now the biggest cameo, the biggest besides Lady Deadpool, um, was Chris Evans. I mean, I knew it, and this was one that got spoiled through me. I work at a movie theater, and I'm walking in, and I hear Deadpool go, "Oh my God, he's gonna say it, Avengers!" And he goes, "Flame on!" And I went, "No!" That was the one cameo that I had on the top of my list. I needed him to come back as Human Torch. I needed it, and that was the first cameo that got spoiled, and it sucks. It sucks. But as a fan, I was geeking out because that was one I needed. I and like it was very him. It was very interesting. It was so cool, and we finally got to see what happened after all this time. And it's been a while since Silver Surfer. I want to say 2007. Um, and then obviously he became Captain America. So, but it's nice to come back on this role. Now it feels like he's not coming back in Secret Wars, which is very sad. Because I was looking for a lot of fantastic. Because I still put that Fantastic Four like like yes, everyone knows that Fantastic Four is the best, and it's sad that it gets put on the best category because the other ones were not as good or downright horrible. But I really loved that. I feel like that movie, the Fantastic Four movie. I mean, I remember that watching as a kid with my dad. It was like a very like memorable moment, as well as I just love that movie, and I rewatch that movie all the time, and I don't see anything like bad with it. I find it a very rewatchable and a very good movie to watch. Um, and it just sucks that it doesn't get enough love, and this cameo was just wonderful, and I absolutely loved it. And I mean, all the cameos were great. There wasn't too many. I think there was just enough. I did want a little bit more of a goodbye, but I think it ended really well. And I mean, that's just the cameos. You go into bringing Hugh Jackman back, the the respect they had for the Logan character, making him the being that would ruin the universe if he died, makes so much more sense. He was the main character in all of these movies, from X-Men 1 all the way to Logan. I mean, when Logan died, the universe died, and only a character like Deadpool could continue on that legacy, as well as bring it on more. I mean, Dark Phoenix killed the X-Men universe, and once Hugh Jackman retired, you have nothing pulling that universe together except for maybe something like Deadpool, and he's never even reacted with the X-Men. Um, but Deadpool brought it back. We get to see another. We just saw many variants of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and some of them were really cool to see versus funny. Some of them were really funny to see. I was very excited and very happy. Um, Henry Cavill scene, I was just saying, wow, that was cool. But I'm very excited and very happy that Blake Lively played Lady Deadpool. I thought that was a given. I mean, they have the same personality. The character was based off of her. I mean, she is Lady Deadpool. She is Lady Ryan Reynolds, and like they have the same personality. No one should be playing Lady Deadpool besides her. I'm really happy that it wasn't Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift in the movie would have been really fun, and if she made a cameo, I'd have been like, oh, cool, that's really cool. But being late Blake Lively actively makes me like geek out. Like all the references were amazing, and like I honestly just loved it. We didn't see her, just a voice, but I was very happy with it. Um, and what can I say? I mean, just Hugh Jackman, returning, and he had such redeeming character. X-23. Now they knew what they were doing with that. They had a clear storyline. I think it was absolutely wonderful how they worked off of each other. Um, and it was really nice that she still had those glasses, and you could tell like this was the same character. I wonder how she got pruned. I like there's still more questions that didn't get answered. Um, but it was really nice to see them back together, and like she's like not that little kid anymore, so it was also very interesting to see how like she's grown up and adapted, and especially with like her fighting style, so it's very interesting. um and the way that she like got to talk about the original Wolverine too, this new Wolverine, was really really wholesome, and that was like the put you in the feels moment, and leading into his to their wishful sacrifice at the end of the movie was just wonderful. It was very heartbreaking. Um, and I look really forward to the future. I mean, I want to see these guys return in maybe a Deadpool 4, maybe a Wolverine in Deadpool 2, maybe. I mean, I better see these guys in Secret Wars. I don't see it happening. I see them reuniting with other Spider-Man characters and X-Men characters that have been in the past that we didn't get to see in this movie. I'm hoping, I'm hoping that it's big.